Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report, where every week Fred Altvater and I check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it's happening golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Hey, Carlos. Yeah, great up here. Just working away. And you know what? We just had a major last week, the U.S. Open for the men. We got another major this week for the women, the KPMG Women's PGA.
It does. And the field is set with the passing of the typical Friday entry deadline. The field is set for this event. They're going to play it at the Atlanta Athletic Club. That's just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. The KPMG Women's PGA Championship field will have 39 of the top 50 ranked women playing right now, and all the top 19. So it's going to be amazing, that field. Incredible competition of 156 player field. They're going to play over the 4 rounds for this event, marking the third major, already 3 majors of the 2021 LPGA Tour. The tournament is being played in its original intended slot with a great field, including a spot held for the winner of the major LPGA Classic. Well, we don't have Monday qualifiers for this event. The week of alternate list is based on the LPGA Tour's eligibility criteria. And Fred, the field will be playing for a $4.5 million purse with, like I said, most of the top 50 in the Rolex Women's World Golf Ranking among the top contenders. So Yin Young Ko is going to be there. We're going to see Lexi Thompson. We're going to see the Corda sisters, Nelly, who just comes from winning. How about this field? I mean, another major for the LPGA. Great competition, great field.
Well, first of all, I want to say, the women are doing a great job. Michael Wan, the LPGA, in conjunction with all these sponsors, are doing a great job getting these majors into top venues. We just saw the women playing at the Olympic Club for the U.S. Women's Open, a great old golf course, fantastic. We saw them play some great courses a year ago in the majors. We got to see them play at Inverness last year when they started back up. Now they're playing here at Atlanta at the Atlanta Athletic Club. Keegan Bradley, David Toms, and Larry Nelson won PGA titles here. Jerry Pate won a U.S. Open here. Betsy King won a U.S. Women's Open at Atlanta Athletic Club. This place is steeped in history, should provide an excellent venue for this Women's PGA Championship. And Carlos, since KPMG and PGA got together to sponsor this, it used to be the LPGA Championship, and it just never quite had the aura or had the distinction that it should have had. And with the PGA coming in and joining with KPMG, $4.5 million purse, they've really made this a top shelf event and really worthy of being a major championship. 2 special exemptions we're giving. Maria Fassi and Gabriella Ruffles got exemptions into this, so that's good. They've been playing quite well, and it's good to see them. The rest of the field, we've got the last 5 champions and runners-up. Some names that Se-Young Kim, NB Park, Sun Young Park. Daniel Kang won this back in 2017. Brooke Henderson. Lydia Ko has been a runner-up. So, it really brings the big names. You got 11 past champs in the field, going all the way back to Laura Davies, plus 13 winners. All 13 winners from this season are in the field. So it's really deep. It's a really strong field. Like you say, the top women are there. It's a great golf course. Should be a fantastic event.
Definitely, and looking forward to see really a question that I have for you. We've seen first-time players winning a lot of the majors recently in history in the LPGA, and this year already we see that Patty Tavatanakit and Yuka Sasso have been the winners. So how about now? Who do you think should we have? What are the chances of having a first-time winner this year?
Yeah, I would not bet against it. I think on a more difficult golf course like this, that it probably needs to be more of an experienced player. But Carlos, we've said this before, when these young players, whether it be men or women, are coming out of college now, they've had AJGA experience. A lot of these women have come from foreign countries, so they've played around the world to begin with. So just because they're coming to the United States, it doesn't matter. They're used to playing. A golf course is kind of a golf course, right? It's competition. They've been playing against really good competition, really probably since they were 13, 14 years old. So now they're in their late teens or early 20s. They don't have any fear. They just know they've been winning. They've been a star player. Well, why can't I beat these older ladies? There's no reason I shouldn't be able to. They got nothing that I don't have. So they have the game. They are technically sound. They have the confidence. And, sometimes, Carlos, you just don't know what you don't know. And them not understanding, those missed putts that pile up and create that scar tissue, or, balls that run off into the deep rough that create a problem. They don't understand that. They say, well, I can get that out of there. I can get that up and down. They just go. If it doesn't happen, well, I'm young. I'm not supposed to win anyhow. So, it's a whole different ball game now. They get so much better training. Even their diet and their exercise programs are so much better than they were in the past. So these young women are ready to go right out of college. Wouldn't be surprised. I should save it till later, but Jennifer Kupcho is really in really just her first year of professional golf, and she's not been having a lot of high finishes. I think she had one runner up this year, but she's making cuts. She's hardly missed any cuts at all. And for a new player, that's really unusual. So if she gets hot, she can play with anybody. So there's a name. If you want some young person that could win this thing, that was kind of my long shot that I was going to talk about later. But there you go.
All right. And one thing that maybe overlooked a little bit is also the fact, because the Olympics are right there, but hey, the Solheim Cup. So there's a lot of movement and tracking on who's going to make that team as well. And there's a lot of good recent success for some of the European players like Georgia Hall. I mean, she's playing really well lately. We can see Charlie Hall also just playing well as well. Anna Nordqvist, it seems like she's every time the Solheim Cup comes in, she starts to play well again. Of course, she's had her share of injuries and all that, but there's some players that the captain Katrina Matthew is going to be looking at, like Mel Reid. I mean, she had a great start to the U.S. Open and didn't finish it off as she expected it, but she's playing really well. Maybe the best of all the Great Britain players. But now, who do you expect? And then who are your favorites to win? And who's your dark horse? I mean, you already said about Jennifer Kupcho.
Yeah, well, let me. Who's really hot coming in here? Well, you mentioned someone, Nelly Korda, just coming off the win, her actually second victory of the year at the Meyer here in Michigan last week. Lydia Ko, 6 top 10s and a win. She was number 2. She is number 2 in the race to the CMA Globe. She's getting back to top of her game. She can win any week. Leona McGuire, her best finish, the runner-up last week here in Michigan. Brooke Henderson, a win in 4 top 10s in her last 6 starts. She did get sick at the Mediheal and have to withdraw, but that was just a temporary thing. It wasn't related to COVID or anything. She just got sick. And then she was defending last week, missed the cut here at the Meyer, but her sister was not on the bag. That's the first time she did not have her sister on the bag, and evidently it was a factor. Inji Chan and Brittany Altamari played well last week. And then, of course, you got Jin Young Ko. She's not played since the U.S. Women's Open. She does have 5 top 10s and only 8 starts in the U.S. Oh, and by the way, she's number 1 in the Rolex rankings. So she's a threat anytime she tees it up. Jessica Korda, 4 top 10s and a win this year. 2 top 10s came in her last 3 starts. Inbee Park, she's always a factor, right? She's so consistent, tee to green. What a wonderful putter. She's always, that keeps her in any tournament. I think it's time for Danielle Kang to win again. She plays well on tough golf courses where par is relevant. This could be a good week for her. Who's not hot? Se-Young Kim only has 3 top 10s this year. Last 3 have been a 17th, a 16th, and a 34th. We've seen her play really well. Last year, she was one of the top players, she needs to get it turned around. Lexi Thompson, I'm putting her now, who's not hot. Yeah, she had a couple runners up this year, was 3rd at the U.S. Women's Open, but her back 9 at the U.S. Women's Open was pretty ugly, really. The rest of all her finishes have been outside the top 25. So she has not been very consistent this year at all. So I think maybe her off-course endeavors are maybe kind of detracting from her golf game a little bit. So that's kind of the ones that I'm watching, Carlos, if that answers your question.
All right. So I got to say, Inbee Park definitely, she's solid. And she lost to Yuka Sasso because she played amazing. But if she's still the solid player, like you're saying, consistency, that's a player that we have to continue to look for. World number 1, Yin Young Ko. She's still playing great. Hasn't played that much here since she returned, but she has still the game to keep herself at number 1. So the 2 winners already, major winners, Yuka Sasso and Patita Watanabe, are 2 that you have to keep your eye on. Those are 2 young players that really know how to play. And I know that for Yuka Sasso, there's going to be a lot of eyes on her, just already talking about how similar because of her swing, like Rory McIlroy and all this stuff. At least she's going to have a lot of eyes on her. But looking forward to Brooks Henderson also doing well. Lydia Ko, I expect her to do well. Chen Fong seems to be resurging just in time for the Olympics. So I think she's going to be doing well. I feel for Lexi Thompson, man, that collapse, crushing finish there at the U.S. Women's Open, really bad. But I think she's out to prove something. So that's who I also am going to look forward to. And my dark horse, I know you're waiting for it because she finished 2nd this past week. It's time for that 26-year-old, Leona Maguire. You might not remember, but she spent 135 weeks as the top world's ranked amateur, and it's time for her to finally fulfill that promise and become one of the top players on the LPGA. And I look forward for her to doing well. I think that was that breakthrough that she needed. She didn't win, but she was really close. She made it close there at the end. Fortunately, Nelly just came out swinging, and definitely Nelly's another one that we have to look forward to having a great tournament. She's definitely one of the best, hottest players right now in the world. So any final words before we close?
No, just this is really, this time of the year, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and great golf from now right on through September. So every week's going to be a big week, Carlos.
Yeah, it seems like we're playing a major every week, either on the men or the women's. Then we're going to have the Olympics, and we're going to have Ryder Cup, Solheim Cup. Man, it's like, wow. But that's good because we have a lot to talk about every single week. Well, thank you for joining us one more time. Subscribe to our channel so you can keep track with all the latest in golf news and information. Thank you for joining us.